Hello everyone, Flopsy here, and welcome to something special that I've got planned for my channel as a result of getting my 1000th subscriber. I'm going to play through the entirety of Lemmings on the Game Boy. I'm playing this on an emulator and I'm using my Xbox controller as input, so I'm running this game on my PC. And a disclaimer is I do actually own the original game, so it's not going to make me exempt from emulating the game, but it's kind of something I want to play but haven't got the capabilities of recording without doing this. So, bit of background to this game. There's 100 levels in this version, and there's 25 per rank, so 25 in fun, 25 in tricky, 25 in taxing, and 25 in mayhem. So obviously some levels are going to be omitted, and we're going to play through the game as much as we can. There are actually 2 levels on this version which are unsolvable, and they're both in the mayhem ranks, not surprisingly. They're both unsolvable due to climber glitches though, which seem to only be present in this version, because this game is actually identical to the NES version in terms of level content, but they're actually solvable in the NES version. And in light of this, when this game was released in America, I think they released the American version slightly after the European version, these 2 levels miraculously had updates to them and were solvable. So, but they didn't fix this version because obviously the games had already been shipped out, and it's not like now where games can be updated and patched out. So this is an example of what happens when you can't patch games. I think that's about it really. I had this game when I was 7 years old. It was the first game I got from my Game Boy, and I've really enjoyed it. And this game is about 30 years old now, so I think it came out in 1993 on the Game Boy, so not quite 30 years old at the time of recording. So, without further ado, let's get on with this. So, going to move on to level 1. Oh, what a surprise, it's Just Dig. Probably the most recognisable level in all of Lemmings. So, this one's going to play out a little differently, and I'll show you why when the level starts. So, when the level starts, there's actually no skill panel naturally when you start the level. You've actually got to bring up the skill panel by holding the B button down on the Game Boy and then using the D-pad to change your skill. And the splat height is actually very short in this game. We could actually result in getting dead lemmings in this level if we're not careful. But I think because all the lemmings are out now, we might actually be okay. If they were to fall from the very top of this to the bottom here, they would die. So if these 2 lemmings are quick enough to get into the hole, I think this one's just not going to make it. Oh, they did make it, okay. So I managed to get 10 out of 10 on Fun 1, which is actually quite a tricky thing to do in this version of Lemmings. So obviously the graphics are not that brilliant, and yeah, the digger was a bit slow, and the lemmings walk very slow in general, so it's going to make time crunches in this game very interesting when we do come to them. And they only gave us 3 minutes for this level as well, which is quite short if you compare it to other ports of Lemmings. Okay, so on to level 2. Only floaters can survive this. So we've got 10 Lemmings and we've got to save 1. And something else I should point out as well, it does say the release rate at starter levels, but it's actually impossible to change the release rate in this version of Lemmings. It stays fixed all the way through. So if you need to release rate manipulate on this game, it's impossible. So I think we all know what this level is going to consist of. And because we can't increase the release rate, it's actually very... You actually can't speed this up anymore. So sadly, it's going to be a case of waiting it out. Luckily there's not been too much skill swapping or so far because of the fact that we've only got 1 skill per level at the moment. There's nothing I can do to unfortunately speed up this game, so once the level is done, we have to wait for the level to finish, unfortunately. So on to level 3, and this is probably going to show off some new things here. Starter, you'll notice that the number of Lemmings is actually 14. For some reason, this is all the game can handle in terms of Lemmings. It might be able to handle more, but they chose 14 Lemmings for some reason, and this is the maximum Lemmings that will be on screen in any level in this game. So make of that what you will. And they seem to like having short time limits as well, because again it's 3 minutes for 3 levels in a row. And we're also going to see what the nuke is like on this game, because this level's famous for having a nuke on it, obviously. I like how the blocker changes colour when it's assigned as well. I'm not sure if that actually happens in the original Game Boy port or whether it's just an emulator thing. So there's not really much to exhibit in this level. It's just you can't do the free block as solve, unfortunately. I am going to show off an interesting blocker glitch here though. You can actually assign multiple blockers. So I've got 8 at the moment. So look, I assigned 3 blockers there and it only assigned 1. So you could effectively run out of blockers if you're quite crafty. And you can't do the 3 blocker solve because that's actually splat height. That will actually, the Lemmings were actually splat. So we've got 3 blockers left, and even though we've only assigned 4, it's because I've actually double clicked. I think I triple clicked on the 3rd blocker and I double clicked on the 4th one. Okay, I managed to run out of blockers. So interesting blocker glitch there. So you got to make sure you don't mash the assign button. So when we do the nuke, we've just got to move the skill icon across to the nuke and just then deactivate the skill panel and now activate the nuke. I can activate it a little early as well. And it's quite slow to activate them all because the bottom one was a bit late on the uptake. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so that level took quite a long time because the timer actually timed down to like 1 minute 15 seconds there. So it just goes to show how slow this game can be. So we're on to level 4 now, and no surprise what it is. Use some miners and climbers, but I think that's actually a different level title because I can't remember if it says now use miners and climbers in the original game. There are some slight variations on level titles, maybe because they can't fit them in. But this one's not really got an excuse because I think now use is actually shorter than use some. And some is a bit of bad grammar as well, because some means less than 10, surely. Okay, so it's 10 lemmings and 10 to be saved, and this is exactly like the old version, pretty much. Now we're going to see how weird the miner is in this game, because he'll do it, and then he'll instantly make a shaft, and then when he gets down to the next section, he'll make another shaft again. So miners are very weird in this game in that sense. I think it's actually impossible to kill lemmings in this version as well. I think if the climbers actually climb up these, I don't know if they'll splat. I don't think they do. I think it's just short enough. And it's impossible to kill them otherwise, because they've actually made it such that the miner can't mine out of the level on this. So the water animation's alright in this game as well. But as this game goes along, you're going to see more weirdness in it. Of course, if you're familiar with the NES version of the game, you probably wouldn't notice much what's going on in this game, because it looks identical. It's just very black and white compared to the NES version. Although there are some mechanic differences. I know that some skills function differently in the NES version. So we're on to level 5 now. And you also notice that the level codes are actually 6 characters, and they're non-vowels as well. So it means that there are 21 letters available, and 6 characters long. So there you went for that system for some reason. You need bashers this time. Okay, that level name's correct. So 14 lemmings, 5 to be saved, and the release rate is 50. Although 50 is probably standard for this, I'd say. And we get 14 bashers appropriately. So in the Amiga version of Lemmings, you get 50 lemmings and 50 bashers, but for this one, you get 14 lemmings and 14 bashers. And it looks very weird when they're bashing through the pillar as well, because it looks like there's nothing there because of the whiteness of the pillar. And this level looks very shortened as well, because they haven't even got this bit at the end here. I mean, it's so short that the netting's not even reached the floor yet. Okay, that lemming stays green for some reason, even though he's not performing a skill anymore. Okay, the basher detection's a bit weird on this game. It's a bit weird that Lemming still walked up when the basher was still performing this, when basher actually took out the terrain as well. So sometimes the walker detection is a bit wonky in this game. I could use bashers to get those guys down the other side, but I'm just going to wait it out, because through experience of this game, 1 minute 40 is plenty of time to get them to the exit. So the time limits are not very kind in this game. And it's actually time limits that are going to catch us out in some levels later in the game. And they're not really going to be levels you expect either. So I'll keep them under wraps until we get to them. And some of this game might be be working out levels as I go along as well. Because there are some levels I haven't actually seen in my original run of this game. Look how slow these lemmings walk. It's unbelievable, isn't it? It took them 40 seconds to get from one side of the level to the other, though, so they're definitely going to make it back to the exit. I don't think there's an update on... I don't think there's anything in the level as well that tells you what the level requirement is while you're in the level. Although there is a handy feature, you don't really need to nuke, actually nuke in this game. Although, why you wouldn't want to nuke is beyond me, because you'd actually want to... Because nuking's actually a pretty valid part of the game, in my opinion. But you can actually press the select button to just quit the level immediately. So, I tend to use that over nuking because it's faster.